dear children, today we are going to see the lesson Human Rights. In this lesson, we are going to understand what human rights are and the relationship between rights and responsibilities, and we'll study the importance of human rights. Okay dear? Yes. Every human is born equal. Each individual human in the world has the right to lead a dignified life of his or her own choice. Actually, it's related to individuals and society. Human rights donates all those rights that are inherited and ensure that we live as free people and exercise our choices. And the state's role is to ensure that people have equal rights. Okay. First, let's see about what are human rights. Okay. Human rights are rights inherited to all human beings regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language and religion. Human rights include the right to life and liberty, freedom from slavery and torture, freedom of opinion and expression, the right to work and education and many more. Everyone is entitled to these rights without discrimination. Okay? Where do human rights come from? Let's see where do this human rights come from. Okay? So, this human rights mainly comes from European American countries. So, the deep root for human rights come from where? Is Europe and American countries. Okay. So, the first one is written precursors of human rights documents. Next, the birth of United Nations. And the third one is Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So what is the first one? Is written precursors of human rights documents. Is the Magna Carta of 1250. This comes from England. This gave people new rights and made the king subject to the law. Ancient days and all the people are under to one king, right? So on that days, this Magna Carta brings some new rights and freedoms. Okay. Next, the Petition of Right 1628. This also from England, and this set out the rights of the peoples. Next, Corpus Act of 1679. This is an act for the better securing liberty of the subject. Okay. Yes. Next, the English Bill of Rights of 1689. This set out certain basic civil rights. So this English Bill of Rights of 1689 set out certain basic civil rights. Next, the French Declaration on the Rights of Man and Citizen 1789. This is a document of France stating that all citizens are equal under the law. So all citizens are equal under the law. Okay. Next, the US Constitution and Bill of Rights 1791. So this safeguards the rights of the citizens. Okay. This thing, the US Constitution and Bill of Rights safeguards the rights of the citizens. Okay. Next, the birth of United Nations. The idea of human rights emerged stronger after the Second World War. This war led to unimaginable violation of human rights. During the times of war, human lives lost its values, and those affected by war had to struggle till the end of their life, right? So, this atrocities during Second World War made clear that previous efforts to protect individual rights from government violations were inadequate. The rights of man were prevented or eliminated in several parts of the world due to several factors. It is proved that the government of some countries alone could not protect human rights. People wanted to ensure that never again would anyone be unjustly denied life, freedom, food, shelter and nationality. Okay, so these voices played a critical role in the San Francisco meeting in which the United Nations Charter was drafted in 1945. Yes. Now, at this juncture, an international body, the United Nations Organization, the UNO, which was established on 24th October 1945, took up the issue. Okay, so 24th October, when they have took up this issue, 24th October 1945. Human rights is an important theme in all United Nations policies and programs in the areas of peace and security development, humanitarian assistance and economic and social affairs. Okay, next let's see the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. One of the greatest achievements of United Nations is the creation of human rights law. To advance this goal, the United Nations established a Commission on Human Rights. Finally, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1948. It is one of the milestone document in the history of human rights. Okay, so the declaration was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in Paris, France on 10th December 1948. When 10th December 1948. In remembrance of every year, 10th December is observed as the Human Rights Day. When is the Human Rights Day? 10th December. Yes. And its regular observance commenced from 1950. It is also known as Modern International Magna Carta of Human Rights. Its principles have been incorporated into the constitutions of the most of the nations. So, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights has been translated into more than 500 languages. Okay, it is the most translated document in the world. Okay, yes. Now, let's see the human rights are based on the values of dignity, justice and equality. The right to life, the right to integrity, the prohibition of enforced labor, slavery and degrading punishment. These are all comes from dignity. Okay, next, justice. The right to fair trial, proportional punishment to crime, the right not to be trialed more than once for the same crime. Okay, next, equality. So the equality before law has no discrimination on race or religion, gender, age, ability or disability. Here, the basic characteristics of human rights are inherent, fundamental, inalienable, indivisible, universal, interdependent. Okay. First, the inherent or not granted by any person or authority. Okay, it is not granted by any person or authority. Next, the fundamental. They are fundamental rights because without them, the life and dignity of man will be meaningless. Okay. Next, inalienable. This inalienable cannot be taken away from the individual. Next, indivisible. Indivisible cannot be denied even when other rights have already been enjoyed. Next, universal. They apply irrespective of one's origin or status. They are enforceable without national border. Interdependent. They are interdependent because the fulfillment or exercise of one human right cannot be had without the realization of the other. Rights Day is celebrated on which day? Is 10th December, right? Yes, already we saw that. Now we are going to see about the kinds of human rights. There are 30 articles incorrupted in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. How many articles? 30 articles. These rights are classified into 5 categories. They are civil, political, social, economic and cultural rights. First, let's see the civil rights. The term civil rights refer to the basic rights afforded by laws of the government to every person. This is the right to be treated as an equal to anyone else. It includes the rights to life, liberty, freedom from slavery and arbitrary arrest. Next, political rights. Political rights are exercised in the formation and administration of the government. Political rights are exercised in the formation and administration of a government. The civil and political rights are directly related to modern democracy. They protect the individual from the misuse of political power and recognize every individual's right to participate in their country's political process. Okay, and it includes the freedom of expression and peaceful assembly and the right to take part in the government of one's country, the right to vote, the freedom to speech, obtain information. Okay, now let's see the social rights. It is necessary for an individual to fully participate in the society. Social rights are those rights necessary for living, including the right to education, healthcare, food, clothing, shelter and social security. Okay. Next, let's see economic rights. Economic and social rights are human rights that relate to our ability to live in dignity and participate fully in our society. They include rights related to the workplace, social security and access to housing, food, water, healthcare and education. Okay. Next, let's see the cultural rights. Cultural rights are rights related to art and culture. Both understood in a broad sense, the right to freedom of religion and to speak the language and to practice the culture life of the community, the right to share in scientific advancement and right to the protection of the moral and material interest. Okay. Now, let's see the difference between the human rights and the civil rights. First, human rights. So, the human rights belong to everyone, everywhere, regardless of nationality, sexuality, gender, race, religion or region. Civil rights are those rights that one enjoys by virtue of citizenship in a particular nation or state. Okay. Human rights are considered universal to all human beings and universal in all countries. Civil rights vary greatly from country to countries or government to government. Okay. It is related to the constitution. Okay. No nation may rightfully deprive human rights to one individual, but different nations can grant or deny different civil rights and liberties. Okay. And human rights are basic rights inherited with birth. But civil rights are creation of the society. Okay. Again, we'll revise the difference between human and civil rights. Okay. Human rights belong to everyone, everywhere, regardless of nationality, sexuality, gender, race, religion or age. But civil rights are those rights that one enjoys by virtue of citizen in a particular nation or state. Okay, human rights are considered universal to all human beings and universal in all countries, but civil rights vary greatly from country to countries or government to government. And in human rights, no nation may rightfully deprive human rights to an individual. But in civil rights, different nations can grant or deny different civil rights and liberties. Human rights are basic rights inherent with birth. In civil rights or creation of the society. Okay. Now let's see the Human Rights Commission. Yeah, Human Rights Commission, also known as the Human Relations Commissions, is a body set up to investigate, promote or protect the human rights. Okay, Human Rights Commission, also known as the Human Relations Commission, is a body set up to investigate, promote or protect human rights. First, the Economic and Social Council. A principal organ of a United Nations was empowered to set up a commission for the promotion of human rights. National level and state level human rights commissions were established to ensure the protection of human rights. Okay. First, let's see the National Human Rights Commission. The National Human Rights Commission of India was established on 12th October 1993. Its headquarters is located in New Delhi. Where it is located? New Delhi is. National Human Rights Commission is a multi-member body which consists of a chairperson and other members. The president appoints the chairperson and other members. Who appoint the chairperson and other members is the president. They are appointed for 5 years till the age of 70 years, whichever is earlier. National Human Rights Commission has 5 divisions. They are Law Division, Investigation Division, Policy Research or Programs Division, Training Division and Administrative Division. The National Human Rights Commission is responsible for the protection and promotion of human rights in India. Let's see State Human Rights Commission. The State Human Rights Commission of Tamil Nadu was formed on 17th April 1997. It functions at the state level. It consists of 3 members including a chairperson. Okay. The State Human Rights Commission can inquire into violation of human rights related to subjects covered under state list and concurrent list in the 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution. Now, let's see the Human Rights Organization. Many organizations around the world have taken their efforts to protect human rights and for ending human rights abuses. These non-governmental organizations monitor the actions of government and pressure them to act according to human rights principles. Some of these organizations are Amnesty International, Children Defense Fund and Human Rights Watch. Okay. Now, let's see Indian Constitution article. Article 24 prohibits child labor. Article 39 of F provides for children to develop in healthy manner, and next Article 45 provides that the state shall endeavor to provide early childhood care and education for all children until they complete the age of 6 years. Now, let's see the child rights. According to Article 1 of the United Nations Conventions on the Right of the Child 1989, child means every human being below the age of 18 years. Okay, child means every human beings below 18. The Convention on the Rights of the Child was proclaimed by United Nations on 28th November 1989. 1989. The child is considered as an important national asset. The future of a nation depends on how its children mature and develop. So, protection of children from all kinds of exploitation and abuses has become the main objective of our society. There are laws in India protecting the rights of the children. Okay. First, Right to Education Act. Article 21 of A provides that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children aged 6 to 14 years. Next, the Child Labor Act. So, Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986. It provides no child who has not completed 15 years of age can be employed. Okay. The third one, the Juvenile Justice Act 2000. This act tries to protect children deprived to adequate care and to reform the children by adopting child-friendly approach. Next, POCSO Act 2012. So this POCSO Act 2012 is a comprehensive law to provide for the protection of children from Sexual Offences Act regards the best interest of the child as being paramount importance in every state. So the full form of POSO Act is Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. Okay. Do you know the child line number? Please note down this number, dears. 1098. Okay. The number is 1098. This is India's first 24 hours free emergency phone service for children in need of assistance. Special care is given for vulnerable children, those affected by child labor, child marriage, and child affected by any abuse. Okay.
Landing on Mars. Whee! Pew, 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 pew. I am coming to invade and you cannot stop me.
Hello? Is that my brother Jack? Or have the robots taken over again?
Ruby, I am going to shrink you with my shrink wrap.
You can't do that. It's against my rights.
Right? Well, what if I use my left hand?
No, Jack. Rights aren't about right or left hands. We learnt about it at school today. Rights are things people need to live a full life.
You mean full like after you eat too much birthday cake?
No, silly. A full life means being able to be happy and healthy. Like having healthy food, not having to drink water with yucky stuff in it.
Why would you drink water with yucky stuff in it?
In some places, it's hard to find clean water. And if you drink the yucky water, it might make you sick. And if you can't go to the doctor, you might die.
Hey, that's not fair.
Exactly. Every child around the world has the right to live a safe, healthy life, no matter who they are, where they grew up, or what they believe, or anything like that.
You mean like believing in robots?
Well, I don't know about robots. Beliefs are different to imaginary games. You know my friend Charlie. His family believe in something called the dream time.
Dream time? You mean like when you go to sleep?
No, silly. Dreamtime is their beliefs about the land and how it was created. Charlie's family have the right to believe in that, and we need to respect other people's beliefs.
Does respect include teasing? Because sometimes other kids tease me about my robot suit.
Yes, teasing is not kind, and kids have the right to be protected and treated fairly.
So you can't tease me if I believe a giant robot protects me?
Well, our rights are also protected by our parents and the government, you know.
That doesn't sound as cool.
It's really cool. All the governments around the world have made a special agreement to protect children, and they wrote it all down. It's called the Convention on the Rights of the Child.
The what?
The Convention on the Rights of a Child. A convention is like a promise. It's a good thing. It means that adults make sure we are free to be healthy, play, and get to go to school.
Go to school. I think I like the sound of these rights. And right now, I'm going to use my right to play.
the women's rights. Women are entitled to the full and equal enjoyment of all of their human rights and to be free from all forms of discrimination. This is fundamental to achieve human rights, peace and security, and sustainable development. The Charter of the United Nations guarantees equal rights to both women and men. The Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, adopted in 1979 by the United Nations Assembly, is described as an international bill of rights of women. In 1995, the Fourth World Conference of Women held in Beijing developed a platform for action of recognize women's rights and improve women's livelihood worldwide. Okay, follow-up meetings monitored progress towards meeting these goals. The United Nations Development Fund for Women has worked since 1995 to implement the Beijing platform for action. Only when women and girls have full access to their rights will true equality exist. Okay. Now let's see the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act 2007. This act makes its legal obligation for children and heirs to provide maintenance to senior citizens and parents, protection and support during old age and envisaged as human rights. The conclusion for this lesson is human rights are about equality and fairness for everyone, and it ensures that everyone is treated with dignity and respect. The protection of human rights is everyone's responsibility, and understanding and respect for human rights provides the foundation of peace, harmony, security and freedom in our community. Okay. Hope you are clear, children. Thank you, children. We'll meet up in next class.